Welcome back. Well, the most ardent coalition supporters always said that you can't fight climate change and election on a net zero policy. Well, there's just been 5 Teal candidates elected to this parliament that want a 60% reduction in emissions by 2030. So whilst the coalition tries to figure out what that all means, there are celebrations right up and down the coast of New South Wales, and one of those is Zali Steggall. She is an independent MP for a second term for the seat of Warringah. She joins us live now. Zali, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations. What do you put your win down to?
Thank you, Laura. I think the community is really happy to be represented by an independent, to have a real voice and a real seat at the table in Parliament where the community issues are heard and debated, and we're putting forward sensible solutions. I think the big party machine is broken and has lost touch with communities, and I think my re-election shows that Warringah turning independent in 2019 was not a fluke or a personality contest. Mm-hmm. In fact, it was a choice for better representation.
How pragmatic are you going to be? Because we know what you want on climate change, but Labor also has a mandate, a clear mandate here. How far will you push?
I get this conversation a lot, but if I could remind you that in 2019 the coalition had a majority, and they were a long way from being willing to commit to net zero by 2050 in 2019 at the election, and yet by the end of this term of Parliament we have pushed Scott Morrison prior to COP26 to commit to net zero by 2050 and the Nationals and all of that. And look, I know I am critical as to what they're doing to implement it, but we did push them to that position. So it shows even in a majority government, a crossbench is incredibly effective at pushing the agenda. So I will continue to do that. I will push the Albanese government on its commitment to climate change. You can't say you are listening to the science and the experts and aware of the danger and not act with the speed necessary to actually engage with the problem.
Is the result in Warringah a repudiation of the Liberal Party or a repudiation of Catherine Deves?
I would argue the result in Warringah is an embracing of community representation and independence. It's embracing a new style, well, not new, but a positive style of politics where the community has a real voice. And when we're focused on solutions and positive policies, we're not focused on fear and smear and denigrating the other side. We're focused on the big issues and challenges that we face.
What about the women factor? I don't want to overstate it, but I don't think it should be understated either. Is there an impatience that you detect in the electorate from women?
I think there is a joy and a celebration from women, in particular professional women, that we have finally really moved the dial in terms of female participation and representation in Parliament, especially in federal Parliament. I don't think it's accidental that a number of these successful independent MPs are professional women with incredible experience and qualifications. But the good thing that comes out of this is the inspiration for so many more. You can't be what you can't see. And I have been around, and so many of the young girls and high school students and university students and young women are so excited to see themselves in our federal Parliament.
And how do you think, or could you work with Peter Dutton as opposition leader?
Look, Peter Dutton was Manager of Office of Government Business during the last year of the coalition government under Morrison. So I have no issues with working with Peter Dutton if he becomes the leader. Of course, what I would argue is government and opposition need to heed what communities are saying. Yeah. They want the big issues addressed. They want more positive politics. So for Peter Dutton, I think the challenge will be, does the Liberal Party have the introspection, the ability to look at where its traditional base? I think it has abandoned its central base and its more moderate voters, and that's why they are turning to independence.
Just on a really quick personal level, what people see of Peter Dutton in public is not what his friends say of him privately. Do you think there's a warmth there with Peter Dutton that perhaps the electorate can't see quite yet?
Oh, look, I think from my experience, that's probably true for many people in politics. You know, what you have in public life can be different personally, and also what the media paints people as. So I've had very constructive and respectful relationship with Peter Dutton when it's come to immigration matters and visas. So I would absolutely expect to be able to work well with him, but just as many other members of the coalition. So, you know, we all get painted as being up against each other, but we all generally, once we get to Parliament, can work fairly well together.
Zali Steggall, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations once again. We'll see you in Canberra.
Thank you.
One thing before we go, and we've got to talk about the Murugappan family, because Labor promised if they were elected, that family would be going home to Billawheeler. I want to bring in now these two gorgeous girls, of course, on our screen. As you can see, they have had quite a journey. The Murugappan family lawyer, Karina Ford, joins us now. Karina, I know Anthony Albanese has just been